I think with teens and like young people, it's about exploration and like figuring out who you are. You're still figuring out like what you want to look like and how you want to present yourself to the world and how you relate to other people around you in the world. And then I think throughout young adulthood, all the way up through like middle age, it's about like going through your transitions. We always see them at pivotal moments in their life. Makeup or hair always kind of lands in these like weddings or trips or engagements or birthdays, parties.
Or breakups, don't forget
breakups.
Those.
I mean, yes.
That's a transition.
Bangs and different color hair, yes. Girl, don't get the bangs. Go to therapy. Go to therapy instead.
We have too many good things to talk about. I just gotta say that. I've got to say that. We might have to do a part 2. But
yeah, definitely. I'm in.
Yes! Hello and welcome to the Beauty Ritual Podcast, the podcast that hosts conversations about age, beauty, and identity. In a world where the pressure to conform rises every day, this is your dose of perfection correction. And today, my guest is Kate Williams, therapist and former makeup artist, who is going to set the record straight about a few things. One of those things being one of my favorite sayings that I love to disagree with, which is hair really therapy? Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled because there is so much to dive into from, my perspective as a stylist. But what I really want to know and what I've always been curious about is what is actually the delineation of therapy and what people say hair is, or, getting any glam done, whether it's, nails, makeup, hair. I don't know that it's all therapy to me. I understand like the benefits, but can we just start right there?
I mean, I think that's what got me into this world of being a therapist, is recognizing the nuance between the chair, someone getting their makeup done, and how that translates to through a therapeutic lens. I think that I started to learn a lot about people being a makeup artist. So I guess you could say I'm a retired makeup artist now. I still work for cosmetic brands and education and artistry development, and I develop managers and support field teams in a retail capacity. But I guess I've hung up my makeup brushes to a certain extent, but now I've picked that back up by going deeper with the clients. And I think that was my goal, is to translate what I was able to do for clients in the beauty chair, like just in a hair chair or just like backstage, on a deeper level to help them grow and change.
So did you kind of find that there was a seed there? That's what it sounds like to me. You're like, wow, there's some kind of deeper connection, deeper growth. And then you were hitting a wall with it.
Right. You only can do so much doing someone's hair and doing someone's makeup. One, the hair artist or the makeup artist isn't trained to absorb all of that depth that the client is dumping on you sometimes, we can talk about this as well, but
Amen.
that can sometimes build up and cause some problems for the service industry professional. And also sometimes the client doesn't feel maybe comfortable opening up about everything, or going what I call like a layer deeper with it, which is where the growth really happens.
Right, in a public setting. Because if you think about it, if you're on set, if you are backstage, if you are in a salon, that is very public.
Yes, yeah. So you're getting one version of them, and then I'm getting a completely different version of them in a private setting that's confidential and, yeah.
So that privacy is what really lets you peel it back.
I think the privacy, confidentiality of the therapy room is definitely what allows for deeper exploration. I think also, like I mentioned, it's like we actually learn how to manage all of these feelings ourselves as well. So we learn what to absorb, what not to absorb, how to actually close our computer at the end of the day and go about our personal life without carrying our clients' stories and emotions with us.
Okay, that is the first hurdle that I faced outside of the technicalities of going to school and learning how to do haircuts, learning how to do, color and makeup. I remember the emotional burden being so heavy that I was ready to turn to crystals. I was like, do I need to imagine a blue field of light around me? I will do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not a crystal girly, but I was out here buying white crystals.
Right. I mean, service industry professionals of all kinds, your entire job is giving to other people. And I think what I see, especially because now I have, especially being a therapist in LA, some of my clients are service industry professionals in various ways, creative fields, beauty fields, things like that. They're giving, and forgetting about themselves. Whether it's the hustle, whether it's you don't have time, there has to be a balance between serving other people and also being able to pour into ourselves as well.
But we're not taught that.
No.
We're not taught how to do that. And is that something that you are taught as a therapist when you go to school? Is there some kind of delineation of like, this is how you care for you, this is how you care for them?
And one of our very first classes is actually about how to like self-care ourselves as a therapist. Yeah.
Did that change your life?
Not at first, because when you're in school, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's like, it's just going to be like a job. Like, it's not going to bother me. And then you start seeing real clients and you're like, oh, like, and you start to feel that. And I have to admit that when I first started as an associate, I was seeing kids, I was seeing some people that were in treatment. It was a lot of heavy things, like right off the bat. Associates, it's funny because you would think that the more well-versed you are as a therapist, the more difficult the client base would get, but it's actually the opposite. Somehow in our field, like as an associate, sometimes you get handed some of the most difficult clients, which you learn a lot from, but you also absorb a lot of that, the trauma and the emotions and the relationship issues and the family issues and the work issues, and you have to put that somewhere at the end of the day. I didn't realize how much it was impacting me at first, and then I was like, wow, I like don't feel like talking to anybody. Like, I don't want to talk to my boyfriend. I don't want to talk to my friends. I avoid my family calling me. So I think you learn it in school, but then you apply it in real life when you actually start experiencing that overwhelm, that overload, which is probably similar to how you feel, in the chair doing hair. And also, I guess, similar how I felt when I was still practicing artistry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting when you say it kind of makes you shut down, because I think there's, I don't know if therapy relates to this too, but you may have experienced how not only are you dealing with the client a lot of times, whether you're, in school, let's say for like makeup or hair, or you're working in a salon, you also have to deal with like the emotions of those around you. Like no one else is trained to do that. So it can get to the point where you almost feel like I can't like use my voice anymore. Right? So what did you learn? Is there anything you learned in terms of like how to stay open and stay connected, or turn off? Like what direction? I don't even know.
I think for me, it's all about like having daily rituals and like my own personal life that bring me back to like a center, whether it's like breath work or mindfulness, or for me, like exercise is like a huge part of my life.
Huge.
If I can't fit that into my day, then I'm probably overworking, right? Because, if I can't find 10, 15, 20 minutes to do some type of stretching or an easy walk or to walk my dog a little bit further, then I'm like, okay, I'm overworking, I'm overdoing it.
What a great gauge.
Yeah.
That's so real.
Yeah, and we're all busy, we're all hustling, we're all trying to, build our client book, whether it's in therapy world or beauty world or service industry world. But it's like kind of a silly saying, but you can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to pour it back into yourself.
No.
Yeah.
So how do you stop that pouring? I understand there's like a daily ritual, but I think a lot of times when someone has really big energy or they're going through something really intense, you just want to take it all in and hold space for them, or blah, blah, whatever it is that's running through your head.
Yeah.
I understand daily rituals are super important. I have my own. I love my morning pages. I love my walks. I love things like that. But there is like an openness.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't want to be guarded. You don't want to be shut down and not connect.
Right.
Where's the happy medium?
Yeah. So like in the moment. Where's the happy medium in the moment? So when...
Don't talk about the moment to me. Of course it's the moment.
Yeah. In the moment with the client that is oversharing and being a burden, shall we call them, a burden in the moment. I think boundaries. Yeah. I mean, we get really good at like physical boundaries, you know, like maybe like, oh, I'm not going to go out when I know I have an early morning, right? Or I'm not going to meet my friends, or, you know, maybe we don't talk to our family every single day. I mean, we all have our like physical boundaries, but the emotional boundaries in the moment are much harder because you have to self-soothe silently and practice like some type of self-soothing silently to create that invisible boundary between you and your client that they can't see, but you can feel.
And if you're shy, which I can be very outgoing. I've learned how to be outgoing on camera. I've learned how to be outgoing with clients. I can be really shy to like confront something, especially if something is like really taxing. And I've learned like the graceful ways to do it. It doesn't have to be like so, you know, intense. And I think that's why like it can lead you to feel shy if you feel like you have to just like address something. But I think it can be very natural.
Yeah. Or humorous. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've broken up some like almost tears or, you know, going down a dark hallway, as I would call it, like with clients when I was not as a therapist, when I was doing makeup. If I felt them going down a dark hallway, I feel like bringing in humor, or even taking a break, excusing yourself to go to the restroom, bringing them a water, asking them if they want a piece of gum.
Okay, I love that. A break is like very sweet actually, because I think a lot of times when you are so open and you want to be so helpful, you're like, I have to be here and stay connected. And like, if I walk away, I'll be somehow betraying it. Your unconscious mind is going in this way. But it's okay to take a break.
It's okay to take a break.
And come back.
Yes.
And try again.
Yes.
There's a new day.
Yes.
I forget about her. I forget about new days. Okay, so, you know, we're kind of getting into it. We're touching on it. But do you want to describe a little bit more about what shaped your therapeutic style?
It definitely started in the chair when I was doing makeup on clients, because I always... Well, and also with on the business side of the cosmetic world, where I was developing artistry skills and managerial skills and succession planning makeup artists into management positions for like various brands.
Which honestly, I just have to shout you out right now. I feel like managerial skills are so underrated.
Yeah.
Being able to like manage and communicate effectively is such a sexy behavior.
Yeah. While also having artistry skill development and working with difficult clients and
not cutting off your artistic flow.
Yeah.
By being so rigid.
Yeah. So doing that with like my teams that I worked with and the companies that I worked with, and also the client base that I worked with, whether it was, you know, privately in my own career as a makeup artist or in the retail environments where I was managing and leading other teams of makeup artists, I feel like I always wanted to take it a step further. And I feel like being a therapist is what allowed me to do that. You know, I transitioned from making somebody feel really good for a moment to helping somebody achieve long-lasting change. I think that was the biggest transition for me.
That must be really fulfilling.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, you always doubt yourself. There's always like an imposter syndrome and a self-doubt when it comes to any service world, right? You always hope that you say the right thing or hope that you did the right thing. Hope that they love their makeup, right? Hope that they love their hair when they walked away. But I think it's mostly rewarding, everything I do. I feel good about it.
Yeah. I know that some of the questions that we went over, they kind of deal with nuances, like things that if you're just starting out, you may not even think about it. And honestly, even if you've been doing, you know, a service for a long time, it may again become something that you don't think about, but learning about nonverbal cues. You want to speak on that a little bit, translating that into therapy?
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that's where I started to learn really about people and nuances and uniqueness of just being human, whether it's like eye contact, no eye contact, facial expression, body language. Are their legs crossed? Are they hunched over? Is there a smile? Is there a smirk? I mean, there's so many small little details that I started to pick up on as a makeup artist that communicated something to me about how the other person felt, about how they looked, or how they felt that day, or maybe even like some anxiety about the event they were going to. Oh gosh, brides, like the anxiety and the stress of a bride getting ready for her big day, and, almost being able to a certain extent, feel it. You can feel, which I'm sure you can relate to as well, you can feel when there's like something off with clients. And you can also feel the opposite, it's not always about like the negative emotions or the negative vibes. Sometimes it's also about like, you can tell when someone's really happy or excited, or, nervous, excited for a date, or nervous, excited for a wedding, and translating that to therapy when it's necessary. I have to be able to pick up on those small nuances about people to, I want to say call them out, but it's not calling them out. It's like bringing things to their attention that maybe they're not consciously observing about themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that in the beginning of noticing those cues that it felt really kind of vulnerable. And I felt like I almost had to kind of get over this. It's not self-consciousness. It's kind of this, I don't want to revert to the word shyness, but there's a little bit of like an intimacy to noticing that much of a person, and like and also for them to like let you see them in whatever state that they're bringing to the table. So there's sort of this I'd call it a learning period.
Yeah. Not to mention the avoidance that sometimes happen if you sense something that maybe you're struggling with. Not you in particular, but just service industry professionals.
Totally, it could be me. I mean, I think that there's certain emotions that no matter what, it could be the day. You could have worked through it, and then like that day, it's something that you're just like, oh, I do want to avoid it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember there's multiple times where I was like stressed out about a guy or a friend or something about my family. And like, we also bring some of that energy into the chair as well. And God forbid we bring that energy in and we happen to have a difficult client on the other end of that.
Yes. That is a true mountain.
Yes.
That is a true mountain. But I think in an odd way, if you're lucky enough, and the universe decides to shine on you, a lot of times those moments will teach you the best communication skills that you'll ever learn. And it may not end up like perfect and pretty. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
But you can really learn some of the most monumental things in those challenging moments, whether it's, with a client or a friend or a coworker, right? Like, because I've heard it said about our, in the beauty industry, you kind of give up the right to be in a bad mood. Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Those moments when everything feels like it's kind of emotionally crashing down on you are really educational.
Yeah. Because you have to show up.
You have to.
You have to show up.
You have to address it.
Yeah. And you're the person that these other people are coming to feel good about themselves. Yeah. Can't be in a bad mood.
No, you really can't. Yeah. I didn't know I was giving up my rights to that, but it served me. We're doing all right. So I really love this question. What does the beauty industry teach about instant versus long-term transformation? And let's say it this way. Let's say it, what does therapy versus the beauty industry teach? Maybe we can look at it from both angles here.
I mean, we're surrounded by instant gratification, period. Which is, I could go on for days about this, but it's causing like just a world full of anxiety because we are not used to waiting for things or seeing things through. We're used to swiping or scrolling, and
how dare you call me out like this?
I'm guilty of it, whether it's flipping through TikTok or liking pictures or like doom scrolling at night before I go to bed. But I think that's trained our brains to want things and want things now. Of course, now I've got away from the actual question, but.
No, you haven't. Yeah. I think that there's kind of this fascination in the digital world that is reflected deeply in the beauty industry, that you can have this glow up. You can feel differently by putting this shirt on, this jewelry, this makeup, right? Yeah. And there is some validity to that. When I get ready for something and I express myself through how I dress or how I do my makeup, it does change the way that I feel, and for the better a lot of the time. especially because I know how to do it now.
Yeah.
I used to have some bad days there. But it's not necessarily that long-lasting change where, oh, you know what? I learned how to communicate better, and I faced some really deep challenges, and I came out the other side, and I understand patience.
Yeah.
Like that to me would be a long-term transformation that took time and practice and perseverance.
Yeah.
Whereas being able to like dress up and look nice for a night, yeah, you do get like an instant gratification from that, but it's not as deep.
Maybe not at first.
Yeah? Say more.
I feel like, so when you see a different version of yourself in the mirror, it actually activates brain waves that are directly correlated with motivation and self-perception. And because of that, you can ask yourself, or you kind of look at yourself in a way of like, well, if I can look different, then maybe I can be different too. It starts the process. It starts the process of motivation and self-perception and self-esteem and confidence. So maybe if you look different and you feel that uplifted motivation or self-esteem, maybe you will act different. Maybe you will implore that boundary that you've been putting off with a family member or a loved one. Maybe you will speak more confidently when you're out with your friends and attract someone to go on a date with. Maybe you'll gain the confidence to reach out to a friend that you haven't spoken to in a long time. So what might not appear to be long-term might be the start of something long-term.
It's the start of something new.
Yes.
Cute. I think that I'd like to know more about what you think long-term transformation is. Because I have my own concept of it.
From a beauty perspective or as a whole, just in life?
Whatever calls to you.
I think when you start to recognize patterns and shift how you react, that is what long-term change is to me. Because I think recognizing it's not all about what's not working, right? Because there's a lot of stuff about us that is good, that is positive. Like we have these defense mechanisms because we needed them for safety. We have these boundaries set because we've been hurt in the past. Like things have happened to us and we've implored all of these traits that, some people say are bad, right? But to a certain extent, they're not, because we're trying to protect ourselves and guide ourselves in a certain direction. And I think long-term change involves recognizing that and owning that and having like real self-awareness in every aspect of our lives, whether it's self-awareness of like why we're wearing makeup, why we're doing our hair. Like, are we trying to literally be someone else, or are we just wanting to like look nice, feel nice, and practice some self-care? Yeah. Does that answer? I hope it answers the question.
It's a great answer. I was eating that up. I guess that kind of segues into how beauty rituals can be like grounding.
Yeah.
For mental health.
I mean, I think I go back to like that daily ritual of like making yourself feel confident and like looking at yourself in the mirror and feeling good about yourself. It's not that you're trying to, appease other people or make other people like you. Like you want to feel good for yourself. You want to feel good, when you're going on that date. You want to feel good when you go into work. I also think, and if it's okay if I use an example,
please.
I saw a population of people a couple years ago that were like in recovery, going through like the early stages of recovery. It was part of like my associates like transitioning into my full license world, and it was like a necessity. It was something that I required them to do, whether it was, the men shaving and getting their hair cut and putting on a fresh shirt every day, or the women putting on a little bit of lipstick, mascara, and brushing their hair. Sometimes those simple things can like really activate motivation and change in someone on like a very basic level.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really deep.
Yeah.
And it actually makes me feel so much compassion for the process.
Yeah.
Inside the process.
Yeah. Little things we take for granted are like big deals for other people, especially people like us who've like been absorbed in beauty world and cosmetics world and hair world for so long. Like it's not as accessible to everybody. It seems like it is because of the way social media presents it, but there are a lot of people who struggle with self-image and self-esteem who would never walk in to a Sephora or an Ulta ever.
I wouldn't even think of that because I really am in this saturated hub.
Yeah.
That's actually quite humanizing to really think about the person who's walking in the door a little bit more than just how you think like everyone, everyone is adapted to this. Yeah. No, they're not. So do you think that social media kind of warps these rituals? Is that where the anxiety is coming in?
I think that they warp the idea of beauty.
Like with filters and things like that.
And I think because of a sales strategy and marketing, like if you were to take away sales and marketing from social media, it would really just be a whole bunch of people posting videos and giving their opinion about each other, right? But because sales and marketing is a part of it, there's always like a sales tactic. So even if somebody it's like, I mean, I hate to say this, but even if it's not like a paid advertisement, it is a paid advertisement. Like even if they're not getting a direct payment, there's some benefit that person is getting from promoting XYZ. Now, for example, I am not a beauty influencer, and sometimes every once in a while I'll post things that I like. That might be the exception of like if you really are just genuinely sharing with your friends. But I think social media has monetized beauty. I mean, it's one of the biggest industries. Huge. In the world.
Huge. Only getting bigger.
Yeah.
Only getting bigger. Yeah. And I think that part of these conversations that I get to have, I feel so lucky to get to have them because I am aware that I am desensitized to a point, just given that I have spent the last 15 years in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
West Hollywood.
Right.
There is such a warped experience to being in the beauty world, specifically there, that I consume social media and I realize it only adds to my warped perception because of being at this epicenter. I really do want to find more humanity inside of the massive trend of beauty, because I don't see it dying down, but I do wonder if we could build up more of this, actual heart and connection and kindness. Yeah. Because that's really deeply missing inside of the commerce.
Yeah. Well, it gets lost in the idea of selling a product. And it also gets lost sometimes in the connection between just like artist or hairstylist and client sometimes too. If we're not taking care of ourselves, or if we don't feel good about ourselves, we're probably not going to project that onto our clients, right? If we're insecure, we feel like we are too old or too, whatever it is, all the things that we're supposed to be in. And I have to say, I feel like women get the shit of it. I hope it's okay that I say that, but we kind of get we have the most pressure in the beauty industry. Not the only pressure, but the most pressure to look a certain way, be a certain way. Even artists, I think, are kind of influenced to like do art a certain way too. I don't know if there's like as much freedom.
In terms of sexuality?
What do you mean?
I guess to me, a lot of the pressure of like presentation is being like sexy.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Like being sexy, being young, having the lips, having the eyes, having the cheeks, having the nose, having the boobs, having the hair, everything. And not that there's anything wrong with those things. I mean, I am not against looking a certain way or being a certain way, but it's the assumption that everybody should, I guess, is the problem.
And we go back to a little earlier in our conversation where you're talking about, are you presenting for who you are, or are you trying to be someone else?
Right. That line is blurry these days.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I personally feel that you have to get really lucky if you're going to step into the beauty world and try a bunch of things. If you're going to try the hair, because now it's graduated to med spa, right? Now we're starting to be able to play with a lot more of our physicality than just highlighting and coloring.
Yeah.
I hope that there's harm reduction inside of that. Because it's, you can grow your hair back.
Right.
For the most part.
Yeah. There's so much accessible to everybody now. lasers, lipo, this massage will do this. You know, you're right. It's not simple anymore. It's becoming oversaturated and like looking like a completely different person. And that's men and women. I think it's everybody. Everybody is faced with this. Yeah. I think there's also a misconception that it's only women that are getting these services done. I think men are also feeling pressured to have their skin look a certain way and maybe get that filler, maybe get that Botox, hair transplants. I mean,
yes,
muscle transplants. There's a lot. It's just not as talked about openly.
Right.
Yeah.
And the expectation is starting to shift because I think the expectation of women has always been really high, and that's been very public.
Right. Yes.
You should dye your hair. You should wear lipstick.
Yeah.
You should come in heels to work, whatever that may be. But for men, the pressure is now there. I think mounting into a similar range as it is for women. Maybe not as much. I don't want to say that, but it's probably going to get more public in the next 5 years. I would believe that.
Yeah. More men are seeking therapy, which is great, this year than any other year leading up to this year. Yes.
Okay, the numbers are in.
Yes, the numbers are in. I just did a post about this on my Instagram not too long ago. So
okay.
Yeah, up double digits this year. So
what do you think drove this?
Acceptance.
Of?
Men seeking help.
Public acceptance.
Yeah, I think it's been stigmatized for a really, really long time. I also think that men are having to step up as women continue to step up. And I think men are having to address some really like deep core issues about themselves. Not all, but a lot of them. That's a whole nother episode though.
Honestly, it is a whole other episode. Yeah. I'm processing this as a victory though.
Yeah.
In this present moment in time. So let's touch on some age-related topics here. One being how self-image changes and what beauty rituals mean in different stages of life. Because this one is a dear one to my heart. I have clients of all ages and I love that about my clientele. Yeah. Love it.
I think with teens and like young people, it's about exploration and like figuring out who you are. You're still figuring out like what you want to look like and how you want to present yourself to the world and how you relate to other people around you in the world. And then I think throughout young adulthood all the way up through like middle age, it's about like going through your transitions. So if you notice, and you'll probably think about this now that I say this, it's like we always see them at pivotal moments in their life. Makeup or hair always kind of lands in these like weddings or trips or engagements or birthdays, parties.
Or breakups, don't forget those.
Breakups, I mean, yes.
That's a transition.
Bangs and different color hair, yes. Girl, don't get the bangs. Go to therapy. Go to therapy instead. But you're right. Like pivotal moments like that, losing a job, getting a new job. I mean, throughout adulthood, we see everyone come in and change things or adjust things or want new things. Sometimes realistic, sometimes not, right?
Correct.
And then as we get older, I feel like it kind of settles. And the unfortunate part about that is sometimes as we age, I feel like we age out of the beauty world and cosmetic world and hair world. But that's not the case.
Right.
It just has to adjust and shift or not.
Okay, but do you think part of that is to do with advertising? And it's just because we don't see it, so it seems like we age out?
We don't see it, even though people throw in every once in a while. I mean, I'm sure you see it in like advertisements, like all of these young girls and then one obviously more mature woman or one obviously more mature man. And I'm like, okay, that's not really the point, but nice try, right?
Also, they're incredibly hot, just like unbelievably hot.
Like the hottest 63-year-old woman you've ever seen in your life.
You're like, holy smoke show.
Yeah, people are trying though, A for effort, I guess.
I agree.
But that transitional phase is more about, I think, sometimes getting back to yourself as opposed to like another self. Because, we, and I'm speaking about women here, but like we have a child, we focus on raising a family. We might lose something in ourselves throughout that transition, sometimes not. And then we get back to ourselves when maybe the kids are a little bit older, they're going to school, I'm going back out with my friends now. I'm, having date night with my husband or wife or, whatever.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, well, I kind of want to freshen up my look.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
the big takeaway from that portion of the conversation is really that you don't age out. It just looks like you do.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I would rather hear that from a person than from an advertisement.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels a lot better.
Yeah. There's something for everybody. I mean, gosh, so many products, so many things.
You have too many good questions. We have too many good things to talk about. I just got to say that. I've got to say that. Yeah. We might have to do a part 2. But
yeah, definitely. I'm in.
Yes. Can we get into a little bit of why people make external changes before they make internal ones?
I think that some people think that the problems exist externally, right? I mean, if you even think about plastic surgery is not the topic, but we'll use plastic surgery or like cosmetic procedures as an example of I have low self-esteem because I don't have the size breasts that I want or the size butt that I want, or, I'm heavier than I would like to be. So then all these people make all of these physical changes, and guess what? They're still not happy. Mm-hmm. Because some of that is internal. Now, not everybody feels that way. I'm sure there are some people that are perfectly fine and they just want to have bigger breasts and they go get them and they're like, yes, this is what I wanted. I'm happy. Yes. But I would bet that most people go and have procedures done and then they find something else that they want to change, and then they find something else they want to change. It's that instant gratification and anxiety that we talked about earlier too, of you change one thing and you see that it's possible and then you get this temporary high. It's like buying a new outfit. The new outfit is new for a little bit and you get the high from it, and then the outfit isn't new anymore and then you want to go buy another new outfit. It's the same with these procedures.
I never looked at it so simply.
Yeah.
But it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. Have you heard of filler blindness?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've heard and I've seen.
Yes. That's what that is. It's like we see it, we get used to it, we like it, and we're like, oh no, now I want to look even more. I want it to look better, even bigger, different. It's like that. It's like a hamster on a wheel. You never really get anywhere.
So even if it's not super dramatic, let's say that you lose the weight, you find a look that you like, you do a little bit of, let's just say you do everything by the book, tasteful, Jane Fonda-esque, right? There's still a portion, I think, of the internal that's going to show itself, even if you've made yourself quite happy with the external.
Yeah.
And to me, that portion I think shouldn't be forgotten of. But do you think it should come first?
The inner portion? That's a great question and idea. Should people have to see a therapist before they get work done? It's such an interesting concept that I've never thought about before. Or address internal issues with themselves before making big physical changes.
Just to start from the inside before you make a choice for the outside.
I think the most important question to ask yourself is the why. Am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for others? Am I doing this because so-and-so when I was 16 gave me a complex about this? Did somebody make me feel bad about my nose? Did somebody make me feel bad about my weight? Did somebody make me feel bad about this? Because there's so much to work through and insecurities first before actually actioning some type of solve, because beauty is subjective.
Right.
And we're all falling into this trap where beauty is this one boxed in look for men and women. And if you fall into that trap, you're not pleasing yourself, you're pleasing society, you're pleasing this particular look.
I sometimes wonder that if we did start from the internal, we wouldn't end up with more variety of results using the science that we have. Because I think science dissects mathematically what they think beauty is, right? Whether it's a haircut, whether it's plastic surgery, whether it's makeup. There's a lot of math behind all of that. And I think that we tend to go for a generic formula a lot of the time to solve things, but I wonder if we wouldn't get more variety if we approached it from the heart first.
Yeah, because then we would have to actually seek what we actually really want in life, in ourselves, in our habits, in the people that are around us. And that in and of itself would change how we put our makeup on, what we get done at the med spa. Yeah, you're right.
It would probably make us all much more creative providers as well.
Yeah.
Just so because we would have to allow for there to be more options.
Yes.
what do we want? What do we want right now? Do we really want to talk about the emotional labor of beauty work and how to avoid burnout?
What a big question.
What if you're on the brink of burnout? What would you tell someone?
Well, you have to be aware that you're on the brink of burnout first. Because what I notice is that people get to the burnout before they're on the brink, recognize that they're on the brink.
Okay.
You have to know your signals. You have to know your nervous system. You have to know when things are not right. Like,
okay.
If you're getting into fights more often, if you're snappy with your kids, if you're not able to sleep at night, if your anxiety is waking you up in the middle of the night, if you're forgetful, if you're clumsy, clumsiness is actually a symptom of being burnout too.
Really?
Yeah, it's like unusual clumsiness. Now, if somebody's just always clumsy, maybe you're just always clumsy. But if you're not clumsy and you're more clumsy, or you like forget things, or, you have to notice those signs. There's definitely signs leading up to like being over that edge of burnout, and you have to nip it in the butt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone to do in that case to nip it in the bud?
I feel like it's different for everybody. Depends on what the burnout feels like. So is it stress and anxiety, or are we sinking into like a place of like isolation, depression, and sadness? Are we withdrawing from friends, or are we hyper and anxious and unable to sleep and not eating a whole lot? So I guess using those two examples, I'll land on the anxiety example because I feel like it's maybe more common. Mm-hmm. You have to take care of your actual basic needs every day. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to do something that is healthy for you, whether it's exercise or talking to a friend, going for a walk. And I know these things sound simple, but they're there for a reason. We have to pour into ourselves. We have to do things for ourselves. We can't just scroll through Instagram and work all the time. Mm-hmm. Our brain is going to explode.
It will. It will explode.
Yeah. Setting boundaries for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how do I want to feel? Like, sometimes I'll ask my clients, like, if you went to sleep tonight and woke up tomorrow and you felt exactly how you wanted to feel in life, like, what would that feeling be, and what would you be surrounded by, and what would you be doing? Mm-hmm. And most people don't say like, oh, I would have a completely different job. I hate my job. Like, there are some people that hate their job, but most of the time the burnout is not because we hate our job. Most of the time the burnout is because we hate how much of our time and energy is poured in to our job, and we're left with nothing for everything else. Yeah. So the perfect life actually isn't some extraordinary life. It's a simple life where we just have balance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That changed my perspective a little bit, because I always thought burnout had more to do with dealing with higher energy, mm-hmm. right? Like, mm-hmm. too much demand of mm-hmm. your energy.
Yeah.
In the sense of like emotions, right? Yeah. If you're talking with a client mm-hmm. or with a boss or with a coworker, right? Yeah. Like, those moments, to me, I was like, oh, I could see that leading to burnout. But you're right. If you have a life that is solely about mm-hmm. working, and you don't have anything else that directly feeds into it, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. All of those things are a part of what causes the burnout. But what pushes it over the edge is the lack of personal space and personal time, and getting filled with other aspects and other areas of our life to complement some of the difficulties that we encounter at work.
And technically, you could probably have burnout not just at work. Like, you could burn out in a relationship by just pouring way too much into it and not having enough outside of it. There's just like a variety of things of just not having this like well-rounded life. Mm-hmm. Huh.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Honestly, it's very interesting because it's so simple that I think myself and probably other people would look right past that.
Yeah. Well, you're right in that it takes the pressure off of like reducing our workload and puts the pressure on how we're managing it outside of work, right? It's like, because for some people, we don't want to necessarily take less clients or work less hours, or maybe we can't take less clients or we can't work less hours. But what are we doing when we're not doing that?
Correct.
Are we getting a good night's sleep? Are we investing in our sleep? Are we investing in what we put into our body health-wise? Are we investing time with friends? Quality friends. Friends that make you feel not stressed.
Right. Right. Yes. So I like to ask a few questions at the end of every episode, and I can't wait to hear you answer these. The first one is, If you could go back to Kate at the beginning of her makeup career, so before she even knew she wanted to be a therapist, what would you tell her from all the changes that led you up to where you are today?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. When I first started, I would remind myself that I would tell myself, prepare yourself to not feel good enough, but know that you are. Because I think throughout my whole career, especially in the very first few years when you're like finding your footing and figuring out what you want to do, like you don't ever quite feel like you're doing the best that you could. It's like, especially in freelance life where you're like kind of living paycheck to paycheck and figuring out like, what am I going to do next? And what direction do I even want to go? I mean, I moved to LA from the Midwest, and I mean, my world exploded, like in a good way. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much access. I can do so many things. And I think that I developed a sense of like not good enough really quickly. And I think I would just remind myself, like, you are good enough. You are good enough to be in this room with these people, next to these artists, and backstage with these models. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And finally, what does beauty mean to you?
Beauty. I think that the first word that pops up is like authenticity. Someone's like authentic self. I don't think there's anything more beautiful than someone showing up in their authentic form, whether that's in the makeup that's authentically them, the hair that's authentically them, the confidence that's authentically them. I see a lot. I mean, I saw a lot as a makeup artist and in the jobs that I have and have had with other cosmetic lines, and also now as a therapist. And yeah, I don't think that there's anything more beautiful than someone just like being who they actually really truly are.
I have to ask this question. Because some people are their authentic selves and they actually receive a lot of negative feedback about that. Right? We live in a world where we can comment about everyone. We can say whatever we want. And you can see when someone is being their authentic self and they're actually getting, this negative feedback. And I've always wondered why, because to me, I just thought, and maybe it's a little bit, of a young perspective, but I always kind of thought like when you are your authentic self, like it's going to give you a lot more grace in the world. And I don't necessarily see that. I know that's a heavy question to ask you.
And why is that? Why is it that there's so many mean people in the world?
Triggered by authenticity?
I think people are triggered by what they aren't. And I think that sometimes people are triggered by jealousy. And then I think that there's other people that like to have a voice when maybe in their personal life they don't actually have one. I think that social media gives a lot of people voices that probably don't have a voice in their own life.
So that was deep?
Yeah. Too deep?
Not at all.
Okay.
Let's go all the way. I love that. That's a lot of wisdom to sit with, honestly. And it's interesting to explore.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Where can we find you?
So I actually just started my Instagram page. It's called Outside the Therapy Room. Yeah. So
Lovely.
That's where everyone can find me. In my private practice link, I'm accepting new clients and doing some writing. I've started a Substack and I've always wanted to write too. So this is like the perfect platform for me to start doing that.
And we can find that all on Instagram.
Yep. Outside the Therapy
everything.
Room.
I want to read that.
Yeah.
I'm ready to read it. Honestly, I've come to a place where I've really deeply appreciated original content much more than just the generic stuff. Like sometimes you meet people that have developed, something that is uniquely them.
Yeah.
And you can't get it anywhere else. You can't just get it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Yeah. I had a lot of hesitation starting it because, it's like the fear of putting yourself out there. But once I did, I was like, oh, I love this because it's attracting the type of people that I wanted it to attract, whether it's people interested in mental health or like clinicians like me. who are also interested in seeing what other clinicians' ideas are. And there's some creatives on there and beauty space people on there. So yeah.
Ooh, I'm fascinated. Let's go find her. Thank you once again. You can follow us here at the pod at beauty_ritual on Instagram, and we are Beauty Ritual on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all other platforms. Thank you so much for joining and listening. We appreciate every time you subscribe. It helps us grow. Please definitely hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.